Saracen Philosophy. The objectives is to understand the meaning of Saracen, to know the aims of Saracenic education. Saracen's education was formal. The knowledge and its application to culture are practiced. It is also aimed to the development of individuals' initiative and social welfare liberal education. Education itself was free to devote life. Medicine was also stressed because it was necessary for the preservation of life. Saracen was a term widely used among Christian writers in Europe during the Middle Ages. The term's meaning evolved during its history. In an early centuries CE, Greek and Latin writings used this term to refer to peoples who live in the desert areas in and near the Roman province of Arabia, who was specifically distinguished as a people from others known as Arabs in Europe during the early medieval era. The term came to be associated with Arab tribes as well. The first definition of Saracenic in the dictionary of it is relating to the nomadic Arabic tribes, especially of the Syrian desert that harassed the borders of the Roman Empire in that religion. Other definition of Saracenic is relating Muslims, especially those who opposed crusades. Saracenic is also called any Arab. Islam, Saracenic approach to education. Islam religion is founded by Muhammad. Islam is the second largest religion in the world after Christianity, with about 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide. Although its roots to go back further, scholars typically date the creation of Islam to the 7th century, making it the youngest of the major world's religions. Islam started in Mecca, in modern-day Saudi Arabia during the time of the Prophet Muhammad's life today in the faith of spreading rapidly throughout the world. The word Islam, it means submission of the will to God. Muslims are followers of Islam. Muslims are monastic and worship one all-knowing God, who is Arabic is also known as Allah. Muslims are people who adhere to Islam, an Abrahamic religion. They consider the Quran the central religious text of Islam to be the verbatim word of the God of the Abraham as it was revealed to Muhammad, the main Islamic prophet and messenger. The majority of Muslims also follow the teachings and practice of Muhammad as recorded in traditional accounts. The next is Quran or Quran. Sacred scriptures of the Muslims. The Quran is also Romanized Quran, the central religious text of Islam, believed by Muslims to be revelation from God. It is widely regarded as the finest work in classical Arabic literature. It is organized in 114 chapters, which consists of verses. Saracen is another term for Arab. Saracen in the Middle Ages, any person or Arab, Turk, or other two. Greatness of Saracen most notable feature. They had the ability to assimilate the best in the intellectual culture, the people with whom they came in contact to, and apply this heritage and their own practical needs, where the process by individuals or groups of differing ethnic heritage are absorbed into a dominant culture of the society. They created the scientific spirit of investigation and experimentation and for the invention and improvement of the tools of science. The scientific revolution was a series of events that marked the emergence of modern science during the early modern period. One develops in when developments in mathematics, physics, astronomy, biology, including human anatomy and chemistry, transformed the views of society about nature. What are the aims of Saracenic education? to search the knowledge and an application of scientific facts to daily life. Science is valued by society because the application of scientific knowledge helps to satisfy many basic human needs and improve living standards. It is time to seriously consider how science and research can contribute to education at all levels of society, not just to engage more people to research and teach them about scientific knowledge, but crucially to provide them with a basic understanding of how science has shaped the world and human civilization. Education could become the most important application of science in the next decades. Science was studied for intellectual exercise and application of useful arts. Art is globally activity which encompasses a host of disciplines, as evidenced by the range of words and phrases which have been invented to describe its various forms. With all the wealth of the scientific activities, there remains a certain stigma associated with careers in science. As a result, of the inevitable concentration of the narrow specializations that are inaccessible to general understanding. Enhancement to the process of scientific learning remains a challenge, particularly in the school setting. While direct explanation seems to be best approach to expedite learning any specific subject, it is the best well known that the ability to deeply absorb the facts and the concepts is greatly enhanced by placing them in a broader context of a relevance to the issues of everyday life with the larger goals of improvement of the quality of life and advancement to a more evolved society as a whole. Reading was studied to prevention of life. Young people today have many competing demands on their time, but new technologies should make it easier than ever to share the books and information about what to read. It is vital that schools promote reading for pleasure. So it is worrying that many schools today do not have the school libraries. That threat of public libraries is also a potential threat to a lifelong learning. The curriculum of the Muslim school was the most carefully organized in the elementary, secondary, and higher levels. Islam placed a high value in education, and as a faith spread among diverse peoples, education became an important channel through which to create a universal and cohesive social order. Like, for example, scholar approve and teacher planning on the same of the most difficult topics. Second, engaging frameworks make students think critically and want to evolve in discussion. Third, an interactive approach transforms Islamic education to suit in 21st century needs. And lastly, an empowering understanding of Islam builds confidence teachers and students alike. Subject matter in elementary levels consisting of reading, writing, arithmetic, religion, grammar, and science. At the higher, it consists of algebra, geometry, trigonometry, physics, chemistry, geography, astronomy, anatomy, pharmacy, medicine, surgery, philology, history, literature, logic, metaphysics, and law. Islam has put a greater emphasis on the importance of acquisition and dissemination of knowledge than any other human activities. In fact, it makes it compulsory upon the adherents regardless of the gender. To learn and disseminate knowledge, education is a platform in which young generations are trained and make them future ready. Education provides knowledge and skills which help the person to be employable. The Indian education system is very popular and diversified among other countries. Education system due to its change in the evolution from ancient to the modern education system. Quran was taught at all levels. Islamic education is uniquely different from other types of educational theory and practice largely because of all the encompasses influence of Quran. The Quran serves as a comprehensive blueprint for both of the individual and society and as a primary source of knowledge. Arab has enjoyed a rich oral tradition, but the Quran was considered the word of God and needed to be originally interacted with by means of reading and reciting its words. Hence, the reading and writing for the purpose of accessing the full blessings of Quran was an aspiration for most Muslims. Thus, education in Islam unequivocally derives its origin from a symbiotic relationship with religious instruction. Elementary schools were set up where needed. Elementary schools in which pupils learn to read and write date and to the pre-Islamic period in the Arab world. After the advent of the Islam, these schools are developed into Center for Instruction in Elementary Islamic Subjects. Students were expected to memorize the Quran as perfectly as possible. Some schools also include in their curriculum the study of poetry, elementary arithmetic, penmanship, ethics, and elementary grammar.